Welcome to the Travel Leader Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Vandenberg. On our show, I interview and connect with leaders across travel, hospitality, and tourism. We talk leadership in our industry, successes, failures, and everything in between. On today's show, I have Davonne Reaves, founder and CEO of the Vonne Group Investor. The Travel Leader Podcast is brought to you by The Travel Leader, a leadership coaching and content company. I provide leadership coaching and workshops for individuals and teams to accelerate leadership performance. Learn more at www.thetravelleadercoach.com. Hello, good afternoon. This is the Travel Leader Podcast, and welcome to Davonne Reaves. So nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Rachel.
Davonne is the president and founder of the Vonne Group and Investor. I have been following you for quite some time. I don't think I've ever told you that, but I've been so inspired by your journey in hospitality and hotel investment and watching what you've been doing. So it's such a pleasure to have you and learn a little bit more about your career and your leadership in the industry.
Well, thank you. I'm just happy to be on your podcast. I told you I felt some type of way. I said, she didn't even ask me. I'm just waiting on the invitation. So I've been patiently waiting. And so I'm finally here. So
No, you know why? There were some people, especially other podcast hosts, where I intentionally waited because I wanted to work more of the bugs out before I had you on the show.
I was like, it's okay. No, I'm a girl's girl. I just love supporting us and supporting each other. And so I'm just happy to be here.
Awesome. Great. So tell us, what is the red threads throughout your travel and hospitality career? Okay.
So my themes, well, I'm big on brand, right? So I love it when people see me. They're like, "Oh, Davonne, we love your green. I'm wearing your green." So being big on brands, big on helping people. So when I started off on my journey of becoming an entrepreneur, my goal was, when you think of hotels, you think of Davonne, right? And so that was the goal of the branding. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a PR person. I didn't have a marketing person. I figured it out. And so that was more so with the theme. The theme was, when people think of hotels, they think of Davonne. And now when people think of crowdfunding, they should think of Vester. So really the biggest theme is exposure, building community. I didn't realize a part of the process that I will be building a community, which has been very helpful in creating, a place where people like yourself and others who, if they want to get, even though you're already in hotel ownership, but folks who want to get into hotel ownership, or folks who want to connect with other hotel owners or minority hotel owners, just a space just to connect. And the theme or the threads, the threads just took their own, like, they just look, I'm out trying to create a quilt, and the threads end up coming like creating a green dress or something. Like, it just went into a different atmosphere that I didn't know that it could take me there.
Okay. So I love this topic of you starting with brand.
Right.
What is to you and what's important about that? This is such an important topic for leaders.
Mm-hmm.
What is for you the importance of that brand identity?
What's important is how people think of you. I knew that I had a bigger mission, right? And so I knew from a brand perspective that, I had to make sure one, I take this back. Let me start from the beginning. So one of my good friends, she's a brand strategist. So she actually helped me develop the Vonne Group. And so she really stressed the importance of the brand, how people perceive you, how people read you, how people see you. You know, she gave me the idea of getting the green glasses. She was just like, because, and the reason why I chose green for my brand, because green is my favorite color. I was born in May. So emerald is our birthstone, green, you know, pineapple, because the Vonne group is the pineapple.
Yep.
Pineapple's the symbol house. So it has to, and she kept saying, she said, what does it mean to you? So when you pick out a color, what does it mean? So
Right.
the reason why branding is so, it has to mean something to you, right? You are the travel leader coach. So what does that brand mean to you? And then once you
Right.
understand, and once, because if the brand is not important, if your own brand is not important to you, then how can it be important to anyone else? So the biggest thing is I had to understand my brand. I had to understand how to create a brand. And I was just consistent in figuring things out and just putting myself there, right, wrong. Look, at least I did it, right? But I was consistent. So I try to wear green as much as I possibly can. You know, my logo has pineapple. You know, when
Hmm.
I love Beyonce, right? When people think of Beyonce, they think of, because they know I love me some Beyonce, right? And so
Yeah.
all of those are a part of my brand, you know, being nice. You know, I have this bubbly smile that I get from my mom. All of those things are a part of my brand. I talk about my grandma, my daddy all the time. Like, people know that's because that's a part of who I am. They know I have a child.
Yeah.
It's a part of who I am because I'm personable, right? The
Yeah.
hospitality industry, we're very personable. And so I just basically took what I learned from being in the hospitality industry, from being hospitable, from treating people as people, you know, just doing the right thing that I was, you know, taught and raised. And so all of those things just went into it, just went into my brand. There's no, I wish I
Yeah.
have, like, you know, some people have this is, I put out a plan. No, really, it just, this is who I am.
Yeah.
And it went into it.
Yeah.
Same thing with Vester. My grandma's favorite color was purple. I launched it on 7/11, which was my late father's birthday. He's not here with us anymore, so I wanted to honor him. And
Okay, so what I am taking away from that is that, all of those individual elements of your brand create um connection with
right,
who you are as a person,
yeah,
and they have meaning, and you're trying basically through your brand to create that relationship with your target audience.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. So you, I imagine in your line of work, you're working with a lot of different stakeholders and people. How would people describe you who work closely with you, especially in terms of leadership?
Oh gosh, they probably think I'm all over the place. I'm being honest. I think another thing is part of my brand is that I'm transparent. So
Hmm.
I don't know any other way to be. Some people like it, some people don't. But oh well, you can't get mad at me for being honest, right? Um,
Right.
yeah, you know, take it or leave it. So I guess the people who work with me probably can say that I'm fair. Definitely speak my mind all over the place. Especially the people who help me be organized, they'll probably be like, "Oh gosh." Everybody be like, "Oh Lord," but I'm so grateful for them for keeping me organized.
Yeah.
And as my brand grew, I had to bring on people to help me, um,
Yeah.
to meet the needs and the media, and just as a growing business, you know, as you expand, you start to delegate, and um, so the people who've helped me, like planning my events and just different things, I would say, well, they still here, so I must be doing something right.
Yeah.
Big, you know, big on communication, and or I try to be big on communication, but just being honest, being fair, treating them like how I wanted to be treated, not being rude, not being
Hmm.
disrespectful. I think that's a huge thing. You know, I heard somebody say this on like a Facebook reel or something, and it made so much sense. They said respect will get you further along in life than money.
Yeah.
I said, oh wow,
Well, it's really it's a different kind of currency, right?
right, yeah. Yeah. And keeping
Yeah.
your word too. So I try to keep my word as much as I possibly can. You know, I try to, it could be years from now, but I'm going to do it, you know. So
Yeah.
I try to keep my word on different things. And so, you know, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I'm not, I'm going to communicate with you that I can't. right? So I'm just a
Yeah.
big believer, it's a part of my brand. Like, it drives me crazy if I said I was going to do something, I didn't do it.
Yeah. So much what you said around transparency, being fair, following up on your commitments,
Yeah.
all of that leads to building trust.
Right. Yeah.
Why why is that, you think, really a cornerstone of who you are?
Well, I'm a Gemini. So shout out to all my Geminis. What's your sign, Rachel? I'm being if you haven't noticed it. All right, what's your sign?
I'm an Aries.
Oh, my sister's an Aries. I would be like, wait, how we getting this astrology? This is what happened.
Yeah.
Okay. It's part of my brand. Okay. So
Yeah.
Geminis, we tend to be pretty honest. It just whatever's in our head, it comes out. So sometimes it just doesn't come out the way y'all probably want to hear. Anyway, so my grandmother was an honest person. So I was really close to my mom, to my grandma. She's not here anymore. My dad was a pretty straightforward. He was real straightforward. Yeah. So that's probably where I get it from. So yeah.
Yeah.
So when you are raised with that, and then just me, I guess by my birth sign and star sign, it comes out. My delivery
Mhm.
probably won't be the best, but I know that's just all I don't know. I just never really been a liar.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't believe me, but I'll be telling the truth. They just, like when
Yeah.
I get in trouble when I was younger, and I'm like, "You're not telling the truth." I'm like, "I really am," and they find out I'm really telling the truth. So I guess it's just a part of who I am. It's no,
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, what you've identified is that, those kinds of things are established very early in life,
Oh yeah,
and they
yeah,
they create a foundation of values,
yeah.
and a lot of that it comes from your upbringing and the influential adults in your
I
life.
don't like liars. So if I don't like
No.
liars, I can't be a liar.
Right. Right. So it's a matter of integrity for
Right. And
sure.
I'm teaching my son to do the same. So I say, hey, tell me the truth. What happened? Because you will get in trouble if you don't. So, like you said, that foundation instilling in him the values and integrity.
Mhm.
If you said you was going to do something, do it, and tell the truth. If you spilled the milk, you spilled the milk, but
Yeah.
don't lie about it.
Yeah. No, 100%. So, kind of related to this is this idea of standards, and I think in your line of work in hotel investment, that's pretty high stakes game, right? So
Yes.
when you're
Yeah.
when you're engaged in that, what kind of standards do you hold yourself accountable, and how do you model those for others?
I I I'm probably so hard on myself. If I made a mistake in the email this morning. It drove me crazy for the rest of the day. And you know how I know that it drove me crazy? The fact that I'm having this conversation with you at 4 o'clock and it happened this morning.
Mhm.
So, um, so I do hold myself to standards. I think, I met, I don't know if you know Rachel Blue. She's over at the American Hotel Lodging Association Foundation. I heard her speak at IE.
Oh, you mean Anna?
I'm
Anna
sorry,
Blue?
Anna. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Sorry, Anna. Don't kill me. I see Rachel. Look, I'm looking at Rachel, but I'm thinking of you, Anna. Don't kill me. Okay. Don't kill
I think she'll
She'll
understand.
understand. I'm in the same ballpark, right? And so look, I
Yeah.
made a mistake. Oh my gosh, it's gonna drive me crazy. I'm probably gonna text her. Like, I was on a podcast and I said, forgive me. She's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But anyway, so she said something and it didn't click until she said it. And she was talking about imposter syndrome. And I remember when I first got a lot of media attention, and it was a lot for me because I'm so used to behind the scenes, and now I'm on the cover of magazine. So it was just very, like, from a mindset perspective, it was a lot to overcome. I'm
Mhm.
not the type of person that is like attention, like I'm behind the scenes kind of thing. And what she said, a lot of times with women, why we suffer from imposter syndrome is because the idea that we are not supposed to be here.
Mhm.
So we are not supposed to be at the ownership table. Because it was not designed to be that way, right?
Right.
We are not supposed to be making deals, putting deals together, raising capital, having a conversation with the CEO of a major hotel brand, because that's what we're not supposed to do. We're not supposed to, talk to the CEO or talk to people with chief positions or decision making positions on why we need to have more women or minorities in a hotel ownership space or in the vendor space, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you overcome that you are supposed to be here, when you deserve that spot and you deserve to have that conversation, then it makes life easier. And when she
Mm-hmm.
said that, I was like, oh my gosh, that is it. That is why myself and so many other women, sometimes we are hesitant and we're insecure and we may not speak up, and because it was designed that, because I don't know about you, but I was raised that we couldn't question things. So
Mm-hmm.
all of this was with me while, as I moved up in my career, and I made a whole bunch of mistakes. So if my old boss attended, they'd be like, oh yeah, she did, right?
Yeah.
But But with those, I wasn't raised to ask questions and, you know what, I don't understand this, and speaking up and doing, because technically in my mind and how I was raised and how I was brought up and the family that I came from, which was, I didn't have anybody in my family that was in corporate America. My dad was a fireman. My grandma was a nurse at a mental hospital.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, she was kind of corporate a little bit. She worked for the city, but I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
anybody in that true ownership, true executive role where I could look and see and model and understand how to navigate corporate America, how to navigate entrepreneurship. So technically, I am not supposed to be talking to you, Rachel,
Yeah.
about this topic. It
Yeah.
Because I am technically not supposed to be here because of, it wasn't designed that way. Women, we weren't, it
Right.
wasn't designed for us to be owners and doing this and having and doing what we're doing and changing escape and being CEOs and founders and
Yeah.
funders, and we weren't supposed, that's not how it was designed. And so now we're felt like, and we're making, you know feeling a certain way or getting cut off on phone calls when I'm trying to
Mm.
buy a building from you. You're cutting me off
Mm.
the dish, because technically, but you didn't cut off my counterparts. You didn't cut off my male
Right.
counterpart when he talked. You never interrupted him. But when I spoke, you interrupted me,
Mm-hmm.
because you know why? I wasn't supposed to be on that call.
Right.
I wasn't supposed to have I wasn't supposed to have a say so.
A seat at the
A seat at
table.
the table. I was just supposed to be
Yeah.
an admin or the secretary that would set up the call.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So how does that feel now to have a seat at the table?
I just got cut off last week.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was taken aback because that hasn't happened to me in so long. It
Yeah.
was like, I guess that was a reminder of, oh girl, you still got work, still needs to be done. I'm trying to
Yeah.
buy a building from you, a multi-million
Yeah.
dollar building, and you cut me off.
Yeah. No,
Oh, I was
it's
upset. I was pissed.
it's I can imagine, and
I was very pissed. Yeah.
yeah.
And my friend, we were going to partner. We want to do a JV on a deal. He stepped in. He didn't like it, so he stepped in a nice way and basically was like, she was going to get to that point, kind of thing, but you cut her off. He had more respect
Mhm.
for him, right?
Yeah.
And so he was calm. He let me, and then I, basically let him have the conversation, let him, control the conversation. But to answer your question, that made me feel like, okay, again, it's more work to be done. Now I have to prove myself that you're never going to interrupt me ever again.
Mhm.
So stuff like that puts fuel to my fire, because I'm going to not only buy that building, I'm gonna buy a bigger building,
Yep.
but you would never in your life interrupt me ever again or another woman. So
Yeah.
that's what that conversation did for me, because I am supposed to be here just like any other person.
Yeah. No, I mean, absolutely. I mean, there is still so much work to be done
Oh,
where, those kinds of microaggressions and, just lack of, um, intelligence about those kinds of situations. But I think the reason why I asked that question was because you had mentioned earlier that you had not imagined yourself
yeah.
initially, being in hotel ownership in
Right.
that area and being involved in corporate America.
Mhm.
And now you are here. It's
Yeah.
not perfect, for
Right.
sure, but what has that done for you? And how do you see the world differently from where you are now?
I'm gonna be honest. I still have my challenges over, because it's hard from when you are a behind the scenes person to someone who's out there in the spotlight, right? And I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
And clearly it's part of my brand. And how it feels is how I feel, and thank you for asking, is I have a responsibility now, because for some reason I've been given this platform, even though I created it. I feel like now it's my responsibility for the people who are part of my community, for the people who look up to me, for
Mhm.
the people who are in school, the people who are in elementary school, the people who are coming up, to bring more people to the seat
Mm.
at the table. So now I feel more, since I understand my power, I understand my platform, I understand what I've done. I've understand, how I've positively impacted lives,
Mhm.
by the trajectory. They're changing the trajectory of their life and their family's life, because now they're either a hotel owner, or they invested in a hotel, or they got into something that was far beyond their wildest dreams, because I planted this
Yeah.
hotel ownership. And
Yeah.
so again, I didn't know I was going to get into that space, but now since I am in that space, or in this space now, it's my responsibility. And so now, going back to the branding, that's why I focus on my branding and how can I build a better brand, because now I see it's a part of my responsibility to not let people down, to bring
Yeah.
more people. And there's somebody who's going to come and be better than me, and I'm waiting for it. And they're
Yeah.
going to come and create a whole nother movement and a whole nother space and a whole better brand. And so that's what inspires me. And that's what I look that's what keeps me going.
Yeah. Well, that's so huge. I mean, you've just identified another really big piece of the branding element, that it's one, you talked about, it's about connecting to your audience,
Right.
and two, everything you just talked about is being purpose driven.
Yeah.
And that, you're talking about this idea of, now you feel like you have a responsibility, and it's further motivating you towards this purpose of
Right.
helping others and bringing others with you, which then in turn becomes part of your brand.
Right. Yeah.
um yeah, so I think a lot of times people can forget that piece
Oh
too.
yeah.
They look at all, the flash of the brand, the colors
Right.
and the logo and
Yeah.
all of that, but it is a really well done brand is so much deeper than that.
Oh, it's how it makes you feel.
Yeah.
I want to give
Yes.
people an experience. When we go on to Zoom, I want to know where you're from. We may have some music playing while you're waiting. If I'm speaking, I may walk on stage to Beyonce. It's a
Yeah.
How did I make you feel? I made you feel that you can potentially own or invest in a hotel one day, because you can. And I believe that you can.
Yeah.
I didn't get the memo.
Yeah. Hey, I want to go back to something else that you said.
Yeah.
So, you talked about this experience of being cut off in a phone call, and that's obviously, I mean, that can be really demoralizing in
Oh,
those
yeah.
situations.
Yeah.
But I love how you've that around into fuel
Yeah.
for your work.
Yeah.
So related to that, what inspires you and motivates you in this journey?
My son is my biggest inspiration. He's such a good person, and I'm just so blessed that he chose me to be his mommy. So he is just I'm telling you, I don't even know where I mean, he's just so, when I just look at him, I'm just grateful and I keep going and I'm like, I just want to make his life, better than mine. And, I want him to see the world and, I just want his life to be better so that way he can make his children's life better. Than it's just, so that's probably my biggest inspiration and motivation is I have to do something I want to do something for him. Like I want his life to be the best life so he could be the best person and he can contribute to the world, however he wants to contribute, right?
Yeah.
So if he wants
Yeah.
to own a hotel, that's great. If he wants to fly a
Yeah.
plane, that's great too. Whatever he wants to do, I just want him to be the best at it and be happy.
Yeah.
Another thing that inspires me, people like you, when I
Aw,
when
thanks.
I meet people, especially people who work in hotels, when I meet older people who work in hotels, that probably inspires me the most, especially people of color. And because I know what they had to, matter of fact, I don't even know what they had to go through for me to be here. And for them to say that they're proud of me and keep going, that means a lot.
Yeah.
Especially by me being black and being a woman and haven't been able to, it was at I think it was I saw a post, was it like 50 years ago we couldn't, or 6 years ago we couldn't get a credit card on our own or something like that. So I mean, that wasn't even like over 100 years ago. That was like
No.
our parents were still alive, you know what I mean, that happened.
Yeah.
And so stuff like that inspires me because they had to go through stuff that we couldn't even imagine what it was like to go, that we have to ask our husband, you know for to co-sign a credit card. Like we just, nowadays we just
Yeah.
couldn't think about doing that. And
Yeah.
so what inspires me is to keep going. There's another beautiful generation of young and bright folks that make me feel old when I go talk to them. And, they say when
Yeah.
they were born, I was graduated from I was like, whoa, wow, I'm really getting old. I never thought that would be possible.
Yeah.
And so that inspires me. My family inspires me, my friends inspire me. I'm just fortunate to be around a lot of good people. So when the people who are in my community and they tell me that they invested in a hotel, they've been following me for years, they've been saving up their money, they read their book, they diversified their retire, they, talked to a financial advisor, they said they was going to invest in a hotel in a certain time frame, and they did.
Yeah.
That inspires me. When, excuse me, my first investors who invested in my first hotel, now they're on their second hotel on their own, and it's a full service hotel and it's a conversion hotel. That inspires me, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like, oh my gosh, like this is bigger than me. Like
Yeah.
this is when people do history projects on me, I'm like, me, are you kidding me? Right?
Yeah.
So, when kids now they say they want to become a hotel owner, what?
Yeah.
It's just amazing so that inspires me because it's like, okay, Davonne, you cannot stop what you're doing. You have to continue to
No.
go because this is bigger than you. And there are people so when days when I want to give up, oh gosh, whew, I do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes, I do. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
But then I have someone who may send me a note and say, I just invested in my first hotel. I
Wow.
just I just had a family meeting at our family reunion and we put our monies together and we just invested in our first hotel. We
Wow.
just bought some land. Our family came together and bought some land and now we're about to develop a hotel. So that when I
That's
get
powerful.
those notes,
Mm-hmm.
I invested in a business opportunity that I would have never invested in or thought to invest in because of you. I bought a multifamily unit because of you. Oh wow. Wow. Like I bought my first house because you bought your first because you put in my head of ownership. I didn't think anything about ownership until you
Yeah.
said it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
You have,
stuff like that.
yeah. You have such a deep appreciation for what has come before you,
Yeah.
what has come after you, or what is coming
Right.
after you, and and just that constant reminder of, yeah, I'm making an impact here. I'm doing something really important,
Mm-hmm.
which continues to drive you to do
Yeah.
even more
Yeah.
in this area. That's very powerful.
Yeah.
And I know it's not easy. I can imagine it's not easy to be in that position as a role model.
It's a lot of stress
Um,
sometimes.
yeah. Well, just a little bit of pressure.
Pressure. It's a little bit of pressure. It can be a little stressful. And I'm like, why did I choose this? And so
How do you manage that?
with the stress,
Yeah.
oh gosh. I tried. So one of my mentors, he is very, very positive, and he's pretty much helped change the world. And I can say his name, Ambassador Andrew Young. I'm proud to say he's one of my mentors. And I'll ask him, and I'm like, you're always calm. Like he's always calm. And I'm like, were you like this during the civil rights movement? For those who don't know who he was Dr. Martin Luther King's right hand man during the civil rights movement.
Wow.
Helped bring the Olympics to Atlanta. He was a congressman. He was a UN ambassador. He was a mayor. So that's what I mean. He pretty much helped change the world. And I'm like, you're always calm. Like you're not like I've never seen him stress out. And so I'm like stressing, and I'm like, how are you saying? He's just chilling. I'm like, how are you so calm? Mine is like 92. And I said, have you always been like this? Even like during the movement and everything? He's like, yeah, I was calm. Okay, give me the secret sauce so I can be calm.
Right. Yeah, share. Please tell.
And what he said has stayed with me forever. And I really try this every day. He says that it's always going to work out. What happens, we try to control it. You can't control it. And he's religious. So if you're not religious, sorry. He's a preacher.
Yeah.
He was like, God is the one who's in control. And
Mhm.
so when you try to control it, and I'm paraphrasing what he said, when you try to control it, when you got your fist, basically when you control it's like your fist closed up. Nothing's
Yeah.
happening. But when you let God control it, see how my hands open
Yeah.
up? So
Yeah.
many things start coming in, and it always work out. Even if it doesn't work out the way you want it to work out, it works out, and you have to find out what the lesson is.
Yes.
So that's what
Yes.
I've done. And it has eliminated so much stress. Of course, I still stress, but I go back. I can't do I can't, some things are just out of your control, and you can't
Right.
stress on stuff that you can't control. So that's
Yeah.
how I handle it.
What are you most proud of?
My baby. I'm so proud of
Yeah.
him. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. When I used to be one, I was like, are you really that proud? That's before I was a mom. I'm like, in my mind, are you really? Now I see why they say that, because they really, so it really makes me proud to see the individual that he's becoming, and he's just a good person, and it makes me feel like I did a good job. That's probably why I'm proud. He's mannerable, he listens, he's smart, he likes to put things together. So that's probably the biggest thing that makes me proud. Another thing that makes me proud, which I probably should have said the opposite, was myself. I'm proud of myself. I probably should have said that first, but I'm working on that. As women, we don't put
Yeah.
ourselves first. We really don't. I don't
Yeah.
I'm trying to do a better job, but I should have said I'm proud of myself first. But I am. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of the woman that I'm becoming. I am proud of how I've evolved. I'm proud of what I've accomplished.
Mhm.
I'm proud of what I've yet to accomplish. I'm proud of the daughter that I am, the granddaughter, the sister, the mother, the friend, the worker, I'm just proud of myself as a person. And I
Mhm.
continue to strive to do the right thing and do things out of the kindness of my heart. Um, and I just strive to be the best person that I can possibly be, because I'm a big believer. Whatever you put out in the universe is going to come back to you. So if you a
Yeah.
bad, nasty person, it may not come to you today, but it may come
Yeah.
to you later on in life.
Oh, it will. It will.
And guess what? I don't want that to happen to me.
No.
Yeah, I
No.
don't want that to happen to me. So
No.
that's what I am so proud of.
And, I'm so glad that you really lean into that and own that, because I think there's not enough people, and maybe especially women, who would fully own that. They would try to deflect, or, feel that it's taking too much credit or whatever,
Because we're
but
not
we
supposed
have
to do
to.
it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing we're not supposed to
Not,
do.
we're not supposed to love on ourselves. Sorry to cut you off. We're not
No,
supposed
no,
to
no.
love on ourselves. We're not supposed to, because then it sounds like that we're bragging. But men brag all the time.
Right. Yeah.
So we're
It's
not conditioned to brag on. A lot of people don't know what we do. A lot of people don't know what we do because oh, y'all may hear my little one. There you go. A lot of people don't
yeah.
know what we do because we don't brag on ourselves.
Yeah.
So
No, that's
he
right.
always makes a guest appearance somehow. But
Yeah.
yeah, so to your point, we're not supposed to, it's like we feel bad. Like we feel bad for not taking breaks. Like we feel bad. Like I was talking to my girlfriend, one of my best friends. She's about to be empty nester. She feels bad for traveling. She feels bad. Like she
Uh-uh.
literally feels bad for taking time for herself. That's how we're conditioned as women.
Yeah.
We feel bad
Yeah.
for literally putting ourselves first because we were raised to put everybody else in front of our needs. Our children, our spouses, our parents, everybody, our
Mhm.
siblings, especially. And don't get me started if you're the oldest. If you're the
Yeah.
oldest female, oh girl,
Yeah.
everybody come before you.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
a whole look.
No, it's
That's a whole nother podcast episode, right?
skill about that.
So you know what? I had to start telling people no, and people got upset because I was so used to telling people. You remember you asked about how I handle stress?
Yeah.
I start saying no.
Mhm.
I start saying no, and and the reason why I say no, because sometimes I can't do it because I have other
Mhm.
things that I have to do for me. And
Right.
I realized that I was getting stressed because I was saying yes to so many people trying to please everyone,
Yeah.
right? Because that's what I'm
Yep.
supposed to do. And so when I realized that not only was it stressing me out, I was having health issues from it. I was like, oh, wait a
Mhm.
minute now. Whoa, slow down. I started saying no. People got
Yeah.
upset. Some people still upset. And guess what? They'll be just fine. Because guess
Right.
what? It's gonna work out. They'll figure it out. You know what my dad used to say? If it's not an emergency, no, he said if it's really an emergency, they'll call 911. Because every time people think it's whatever they have going on, it's an emergency. And my dad would
Yeah.
be like,
I think they're the most important.
exactly. So my dad would be like, well, I'm like, Daddy, I've been calling you and answer the phone. He was like, well, did you call 911? No, then it wasn't an emergency.
Right.
So I had to take that into consider. I had to literally take that to help me because I was saying yes, and it was too much. I have a little one. It was too much on me. I have a business. I have multiple businesses. So it was too much on me, and I had to learn to be selfish. I had
Yeah.
to be, it's okay to be selfish, to take care of me. And it's okay because it's going to work out. And who, if
Yeah.
they really need something, they'll figure it out. Of course I'll
Yeah.
do the best that I can. But
Yeah.
if it's for me, or if I have stuff that I have to do, then that's what I take care of.
Yeah. And otherwise, I mean, you can't do any of it. If you can't survive because you're just so overwhelmed,
And,
then what's the point? So that's just part of life and work. Choices have to be made. And I think as we get older too and get more confident and more experience,
there
we're
you go.
we're better able to make those choices for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just about to come to the end of our interview, but I want to ask you one final question.
Okay.
What vision would you pursue if you had everything you needed to succeed right now?
You know what? I would start a nonprofit. That is my goal because I want to retire in 3 years. So that is my vision, is to create a nonprofit to help people. Because I was a first chair in band while I was in high school. I played I was
Uh-huh.
first chair clarinet. And so I want to help people get to that first chair mentality.
Oh, I just got goosebumps,
That is my
Davonne.
vision. Because my friends, they were like, Davon, how do you do what you do? How do you, and so I was talking to one of my good friends, and she was like, how do you do what you do? And how are you so and I was like, I was first chair. And I didn't even think about it until she asked me. I'm like, well, I was first chair in high school. She was like, did you play a sport? And I was like, no. I said, I just played the clarinet. And so, it's a mentality thing. And
Yeah.
it's very mental. And so I want to help people to just be the best version of themselves.
Yeah.
And so that is of course, my son, that's a given. I want my baby to be happy.
Right.
But vision for me to be happy, but I would be happy if because by then I would have achieved everything that I wanted to achieve, and I would have retired, so I could do whatever I want, so I could sleep in,
Yeah.
do whatever I want,
Yeah.
get up early, and I could just wear sweatpants and a t-shirt all day and just be happy.
But
Yeah.
your desire to leave a legacy
Yep.
and continue to make a positive
There
impact
you
on the
go.
people around you,
There you go, Rachel. I love how you summed it up. Go ahead, girl.
yeah, yeah. That's gonna go on for the rest of your life. I can see that.
Oh yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
So before we close, is there anything else you would like our audience to know?
Oh, I'm on social media platforms. Davonne Reaves. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. You can visit me at Vesta.com.
Sign up for her email list
Sign up
from
for
the
my
Vester.
email list. Yeah, so thank you for having me, Rachel. This is great. Thank you for listening in. You know,
Yes, and thank you so much. I'm glad we finally made it happen. And
it-
sorry but I was also a little bit intimidated.
oh my God.
So
I'm like such my girlfriend said, one of my good friends said all the time, she's like, Davonne, you still have like the front desk, like it's like you're still Davonne from the front desk. And that's exactly how I feel. Well, sometimes I pull out my hotel owner hat, but for the
yeah.
most of the time, I'm still the same Davonne that worked at the front desk.
No, well, it's been such a pleasure to to know the full scope of who you are, from both personally, professionally, and really your deeper soul is really incredible.
Oh,
So
thank
thank
you.
you so much,
Thank you
Davon.
for having me.
Thanks for being here. And this is the Travel Leader Podcast. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Thank you.